when you see artists that are like uh not hands off, but sort of arm's length, uh kind of barricading you back, it's oftentimes that they don't want you to see what's behind the curtain. I definitely have that fear because like I'm just a goofy dweeby nerd, and I'm like, oh god, like people are going to realize that Clark Kent's been under this suit the whole time, and I'm not the coolest person ever, and that sort of thing.
So, if I listed all the things that you've done and all the different ways in which you've branched out, we would be here a lot longer. But, just quickly, it's like you're, on top of being a musician, you're an author, you're
Mhm.
a podcast host, you do all these things. A lot of times, people, even when they're the front man of the group or one of the front men in your case, they are settled and okay with being just that. What made you want to do and be more?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think at the time, my manager, the late Richard Nichols, he had a theory, and the theory was that oftentimes groups get success, and then certain key members get gassed up, like it's all about me, and lose the debt weight, and then go on your own path. And Rich's thing was always like, you can always just check back to home base. You guys can do whatever you want, but check back to home base. And I just think at the time, especially with the first 8 years of us, like we were literally living together, like 300 days out the year in a tour bus, doing on an average, we do like 200 shows a year. So, um, the first like tiny hole of like one of us breaking out, I guess, was when I started to do started to work on Voodoo with D'Angelo, and that started in 1997. Um, and as long as it didn't stand in the way of me, doing my duties back at home base, anything's possible. But there's I now say in retrospect, like I think at the time I was taking advantage of 24 hours of working, like whatever I can squeeze in. And some moments be like, okay, do this from 8 in the morning till 6 in the afternoon, maybe take a nap or something, and then work from 8 p.m. till 3 in the morning. Then maybe I can squeeze in 4 a.m. to 7, 8, that sort of thing. But then I think the sacrifice was that, I had like zero personal life. You know, a girlfriend could only last for 4 to 6 months. Um, I'm the only childless member of the Roots. Like I'm in my first real. Okay, not to dismiss anyone else that I dated, but my first real moving in, buying property together relationship is happening now at like 50. Only because like I chose the career first and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's people often ask like, how is it possible? How do you do all these things? And a lot of times it was often to the detriment of whoever I was dating at the time. Oh, I can't do it. And no. Always breaking promises, always breaking date night. Like the career comes first no matter what. And so that was the sacrifice uh, that I made. So, uh, you know, of course, 2020 changed all that for everyone, you know.
Um, what's the closest the Roots have come to breaking up?
Um, the inside joke is this album, Endgame, will probably be the first album that I didn't threaten to leave the group. So I will say that, and the rest of the Roots will say that I hold the record for the longest, and it's after 3 records. Then it's like Little Boy That Cried Wolf. Like yeah, he'll be back next month. Don't worry about him. Um, but I definitely remember. Um, I remember something happened during Illadelph Half Life okay, during Illadelph Half-Life, we didn't exactly have a conversation about evolving. Like all longtime Roots fans will know, like this album sounds this way, and then this album sounds different than that album before, and this album sounds way different than that. So in the beginning, um, I think at the beginning of Illadelph Half-Life, um, I was the last to know that Tariq and Malik desired to rhyme over a more traditional hip hop backdrop, you know. And after a while, I was like, wait a minute, am I the bad guy here? Like, did I kill my own group? Like, are you guys saying that what the live music angle is what's killing us right now? Like, it's my fault. And so, you know, took it, I took it mad personal because in the beginning, I was just like, well, I'm gonna be out. So I remember the beginning of Illadelph Half-Life. I think the first song we worked on was like that 1 minute song Panic. Um, and then I remember I do remember that we did Clones the day of the Million Man March, and I tried to go, and I was, you know, you hear stories of I was one of the suckers that like fell for a fake trip that didn't happen. Like you're waiting in front of this barber shop and like, I guess it's not coming. They got me for $40, you know, that sort of thing. Um, and sort of came back and it was just like, hey, what's this? Oh, you know, new song we working on. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the anchor here. Like y'all can't work on shit without me. And so that just starts a 10-year cycle of me leaving for 3 weeks and then coming back, you know, be independent, have my bundle on my stick and, you know, be a hobo on a train, that sort of thing. And then come back home like, okay, what do I got to do? So yeah, I've been quitting at least every album from Illadelph Half-Life up until maybe the tipping point, and then I became more mature, and then we learned communication. See, this is where therapy comes in.
So as you notice, they're they're not in any like hip hop groups. That's the thing that doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, I know you guys are,
Groups don't even exist.
yeah, groups period. In the R&B side, same thing, doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Um, from a business angle and from a business model, it's just easier to deal with one central person, you know. And even then it's tough. Like, you know, I've had conversations with Philip Bailey where I find out that like, you know, technically Earth, Wind and Fire was really just a Maurice White project, and he would pay them kind of a salary scale thing. Like in our eyes, it's like, oh, all 13 of them have complete autonomy and is democratic and they all get a say in that. No, that's the idea of that. And it's the same for P-Funk. Like it's one central person, and then they have to personally deal with, you know, salaries per week and all that stuff. So, you know, there's never a major payday. And, you know, at the turn of the 80s, I describe for black groups the going into the 80s, um, kind of like that the last scene in Thelma and Louise, like that jump, that car jump, and a lot of people couldn't make it. So, you know, as a result, you know, Pointer Sisters had to think like, oh, what do I do? And Kool and the Gang, same thing. Lionel Richie decided to leave the Commodores. Michael wanted to inch his way out the Jacksons. So, you know, you start off the 80s with this whole idea that it's easier for one person than a group of people. And so um, that's really the genesis of it. And, you know, as of now, um, you know, hang on. I tell amigos every time, like, hang on, like you guys have something rare. Like the idea of a group is some rare shit, and you guys should really treasure that. I mean, I like community anyway. I don't think like one central person can really make all those decisions. And even when you see that, like if you talk to Prince's circle, you know, they were still advising him, giving him song ideas and all those things. It's just marketing wise, it was like Prince and Prince only. But you need a tribe of people to feed you information.
Since you brought it up, or brought him up, Prince.
Hmm.
By the way, I put him in the category of people that if I ever were in a room with him, as you had a relationship with him,
Right.
he's the type of person I don't know what to talk about. Like Sade to me is this person. Okay. I'm like, if
Yeah.
you're in a room with
She's that
Sade,
person for me too. Yeah.
what do you say to Sade? What are y'all talking about? You know?
It's weird. To this day, I think I purposely have avoided her because I want one person in my life that like teenage Amir, like the alter. Because one of the riskiest things about meeting your idols is the fear of what if it's diminished returns. Like, what if they wind up being an asshole? What if I've met a few people that were totally disappointing, which then of course like weighs off of me because like oftentimes when you see artists that are like uh not hands off but sort of arm's length uh kind of barricading you back, it's oftentimes that they don't want you to see what's behind the curtain. I definitely have that fear because like I'm just a goofy dweeby nerd and I'm like, oh god, like people are going to realize that Clark Kent's been under this suit the whole time and I'm not the coolest person ever and that sort of thing. But um I definitely know that Prince, his weapon is his pop culture knowledge, and especially with his love of sports. Like I definitely know that he would know of you and who you know what I mean. Same thing happened to me. Like the first when Q-Tip introduced him to me, his first thing was like, "Man, I love that video. It's so funny." And so you're packing three things. One is like, one, wow, he really is short. Two, Prince's Prince's dome is sort of like Macy's Thanksgiving parade size. So I never I never went on record. I was just like, wow, like the circumference of his head compared to his body is like is gargantuan. So there's a lot of things you're unpacking. One, I'm really meeting you right now. Two, like, oh, okay, you're about what 5'1", maybe. Wow, he looks like a Macy's Thanksgiving parade float balloon. Uh, wait, how does he know what I do? How does he know who I am? How does he know I'm alive? And literally, my response was, I talk gibberish. It was me, him, Q-Tip, not Rashida, her older sister, Kadada Jones, and Quincy was like standing off in the corner, and he was like, "Hey man, I really love that video." He was talking about what they do. This is when Philadelphia Half Life came out. I love that video. It is so funny, man. Oh, and that was my last thing. Like, it's so funny. He has a sense of humor. So you're unpacking those 8 things in like 10 seconds, and all you can say is, I said, wait, how do you know I'm alive? I remember Tiff and Kadada shooting this look like, huh? And then I did the very thing that I can't, I'm not saying I can't stand it, but oftentimes I'll meet super fans that gotta prove to you that they're super fans, and they'll refer to some import 12-inch remix single that you did just for like over in Japan, some Japanese remix like B-side song. And I found myself I said, hey man, I think the ending of Dinner with Dolores is one of the greatest postmodern abrupt endings in rock song history. And he was like, thank you. And then it was silent. And then it was silent for like 8 seconds. And then I got out there and I was like, I blew it. I fucking blew it. I was like walking out of the club and just like, I blew it. I blew my chance to impress Prince. So, but no, in that time, like we really had you know, I will say it's a very satisfactory friendship. Like some highs, some lows, you know what I mean? Because that's how it is. But you know, overall, I enjoyed it.